stretch into the new year. The main sticking point we know is the border security. President Trump demanding $5 billion for that border wall funding. Now the White House, though, saying it may settle for much less.
They are at 1.3 yesterday. We were at $5 billion a couple of days ago, and the counter offer that we gave them yesterday was between those two numbers.
But 2.3.
We moved off of the 5. We hope they move up from their 1.3.
And at least one senator telling Maria he's optimistic a deal could get done soon.
I think we'll get to a deal this week. I talked to the president last night. He wants that. I think Senator Schumer has actually been dealing this week. It's just that at the end of the day, they backed up from what they had already agreed to. I'm hopeful that cooler heads will prevail. We'll get to some number between 1.6 and $5 billion.
Joining me now, former congressman and author of the upcoming book, Hold Texas, Hold the Nation, Victory or Death, retired Lieutenant Colonel Allen West. Colonel West, it's always a pleasure to see you.
Good to be with you, Charles, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Let's talk about not necessarily Merry Christmas for the folks in D.C. This is a political high-wire act. President Trump and the Democrats are both on this, gauging each other, gauging the surroundings, the political implications of it and how far it might go.
Well, without a doubt, there will be some, political implications that the media mainly will try to drive out. But I think it is truly disingenuous that when you have a $4.4 trillion budget, when you have an omnibus spending bill that was just passed earlier this year, $1.3 trillion, that our federal government cannot find $5.7 billion to do one of their constitutional duties and responsibilities, and that's to protect the sovereignty of the United States of America and the American people. There is no way that you can tell me that people don't see this as being very important for the American people. We just saw about 3 Sundays ago when the migrant caravan charged our southern border, and they breached our border through an area that was very porous, and they could just push it back. So if we're serious about protecting the American people, this is something that needs to be done. And all of this hoopla about a government shutdown, let's be very honest, this is a temporary reduction of non-essential personnel, and once everything is settled, they will be paid back.
Sure. And to your point, I think the Democrats understand that part of it. I think they've put the finger in the wind and they understand, that the impression that they're against border security is a devastating idea. So they've tried to change the narrative and suggesting, well, maybe drones can do what a wall will do, or they keep referring to experts. I'm not sure who those experts are, saying that walls don't work. I mean, historically, they've worked throughout the history of mankind. So they seem to want to have it both ways, and that's their position right now.
Yes, but talk to the Israelis who put up a wall after those the first and second Intifada attacks, and look what happened to the reduction of terrorism. It's very interesting that the party that talks about abolishing our Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, the party that supports sanctuary cities and sanctuary states, will all of a sudden say that they care about border security. Border security cannot just be done by drones. I've taken a motorcycle ride down through the Big Bend sector along the border here in Texas, and there has to be some places where you can put an obstacle up so that you can channel people into the areas where you could use these additional resources. But right now we have several different corridors that drug cartels and others use to infiltrate and come into the United States of America, and there is nothing that thwarts those efforts.
So, Colonel, I'm really curious to see, who do you think has more of an incentive to get something done quickly? Because, in January, we're going to have a switching of the House, which means it's going to be harder to get things passed. And really, no Republicans seem to want a compromise here. At least the support is the Republican voters saying, don't you dare flinch right now. You can see it with a lot of his base saying, you must go forward with this. Democrats are saying you absolutely cannot do the wall. So who do you think is going to bite the bullet and say, let's be the bigger person and get a deal done for America?
Well, I would say that the Democrats have more to lose, because as they take over control of the House of Representatives and they own the purse strings, I don't think you want to go into their control of the House looking weak on protecting the American people, because if we continue to have criminal illegal aliens that are committing acts of violence and crimes against the American people, this is going to come back to haunt them. The Republicans need to stand fast, because it's been 2 years that they have had the House, the Senate, and the White House, and they have not done anything. So at least they can go out somewhat seeming like they're fighting.
Colonel West, good morning. Mitch Rochelle. At the end of the day, is this about a 4-letter word, wall? I'm sort of channeling Lee here as our word expert, but if all of the things that the Democrats have been talking about on the Sunday shows about, drones or additional personnel, that's fine, notwithstanding. But at the end of the day, are they really just trying to weaponize this word wall and not give the president a win so that he has something and sort of force him into that Bush 41 moment with no new taxes so that when Trump's up for re-election, he can't claim that he got the wall built?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I would say it's about a 5-letter word, and that is Trump, because they don't want him to have any type of victory or success or whatever so that he can come back in as he goes into re-election mode.